With a myriad of details a filmmaker must keep track of, there are really only two tasks that are the basis of good filmmaking: where to put the camera and what to point the camera at. In this section, we will do an overview of this second aspect. What the camera is pointed at has often been referred to by the French term mise en scène. Translated literally, this means put into the scene. It was initially a term used with respect to the live theater regarding the placement of actors and setting on the stage. We can use the term production values
when we speak of the mise en scène in film. There are essentially four elements that make up the mise en scène,
or constitute the production values of the shot. Those are the setting or location, costume and makeup, lighting, and acting.
There are many who also include shot composition as a part of the mise en scène.
For our purposes, since we have covered shot composition elsewhere, we will consider these four elements. The setting in film is also referred to as the location. It's everything that falls within the four sides of a shot, with the exceptions of the actors and their costumes. In theater, the setting tends to be static. That is to say, that the set remains on stage and is relatively unchanged for most of the action of the scene. The setting for film tends to be much more dynamic. It can move from one location to another in a split second. It often changes from an entire setting to just a small portion of the setting. It's this dynamic nature of the film setting that makes it so powerful. In the early days of cinema, movies were often filmed stage plays. With the development of the art of film, we see it moving away from a single long scene to a scene where many cuts are made, moving the perception of the viewer from one point of view to another. The pioneer of this development was early filmmaker D.W. Griffith, whose early films were shot with a stable camera pointed at a scene. As his films developed, the camera began to move from one location to another. This was an early example of the technique known as cross-cutting. Professional film crews employ an individual known as a production designer,
or art director.
This individual is responsible for manipulating such elements of visual design as line, shape, texture, ornament, and color to give the director and cinematographer something interesting at which to point the camera. The setting should not only be interesting with respect to the traditional elements of design, but it must offer many opportunities to create the illusion of depth. Because film presents a two-dimensional image, the setting must offer many planes and angles which will allow the camera to take an angle which will create the illusion of depth. In Francis Ford Coppola's 1972 film, The Godfather, the use of doors not only presented a powerful symbol for the story, but it also provided an image which naturally aided in the creation of the illusion of depth. Director John Ford is known for use of landscapes as settings for his films. He particularly loved the use of Monument Valley in Utah as a setting for many of his films. One of the great stories regarding this location has to do with a storm which suddenly arose during shooting for his film, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. The crew was initially concerned that the storm would wash out a day of shooting, but Ford not only insisted on continuing to shoot, but demanded that the storm clouds be a part of the shot. As it turned out, the storm clouds were a crucial part of the mood for this scene. What the characters are wearing and how they are made up is an important part of the production values of a film. Even when the characters are wearing contemporary garments, they must be carefully coordinated to use the elements of visual design in order to convey not only the essence of the character, but also the relationships between the characters. The costumes must complement the setting and fit into the genre of the film. In a Western, we expect to see one kind of outfit. In a historical piece,
we expect to see attire consistent with that time period.
Makeup serves a practical purpose in a film and that it counteracts the bright lights which must be used to achieve the proper exposure for the film camera. It is also central to such genres as monster movies and horror films. The most elusive aspect of the production values of a film is lighting. The subject and background must be properly lit so as to create the proper image. Also, since one of the most crucial aspects of the art of cinema is to create the illusion of depth,
lighting serves a key role in this process.
On an elemental level, the subject on a film set must be properly lit from 3 traditional angles.
Each angle requires a different kind of light.
These are referred to as the key light, the fill light, and the backlight. The key light is the brightest light on the subject. It is aimed at the dominant side. This imbalance of light on the subject creates shadows which help to assist in the process of creating the illusion of depth. The fill light is a softer light of lower intensity, which illuminates the opposite side of the key light in order to give the subject just enough illumination to register on the camera's recorder. The backlight is used to give definition to the shape of the subject, often making the performer stand apart from the background, further creating the illusion of depth. The great 19th century acting teacher, Konstantin Stanislavski, once said that the reason that there is so much bad acting is because there can be.
He said that a gifted director could put a bad actor into a powerful mise en scène, and their lack of talent would not intrude.
His point is well taken, if you consider that you yourself have probably been moved by an animated character on the screen, or even an animal. However, acting is a craft. If a film actor understands the human element of acting, they will provide true human experience for the audience rather than simply becoming a part of the manipulation of images. True acting begins with the human being who is the actor. A good actor creates an internal life for their character. Acting for the camera is well suited to this approach. In my acting classes, I stress that acting is about creating the truth of your character within yourself. Acting for the stage involves learning how to point this truth toward the audience. Acting for the camera is about learning how to let the camera come and find the truth within. While there are many stock gestures and facial expressions which are used by many actors today to convey emotion, the good actor knows how to create their role from within. This is a challenging and lifelong task, but it's the difference between acting and great acting. Well, we've run out of time for this section. See you on the other side.